on, girl, let's scream.
I am a god.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel. This is the part where you run.
Come on, scream.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Scream, a podcast where we dive into our favorite horror movies. I'm Stevie.
And I'm Parker. Today we are looking at 2010's Black Swan, directed by Darren Aronofsky.
Join us as we journey to the ballet and learn all about how to dance the
Swan.
Are you ready to scream?
Oh, I'm ready to scream, girl. Come
on, girl. Let's scream.
Okay. Black Swan.
Black Swan. This movie is... it's
Unhinged.
It's so unhinged. That's the best way to describe it. And I also remember when this movie came out. So this movie...
Yeah.
It stars Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman won the Academy Award.
Mm-hmm. Which is huge for a horror movie.
Yes.
That's what's...
Which...
Well, yeah.
I guess to the general masses, yes.
I think it's scary.
It
has scary elements.
Yes.
I think it's horror.
But yes-ish.
I think maybe it just didn't
I get more
scare
thriller.
you
I just get more
necessarily.
psychological thriller from it.
Because you said you didn't really think this was scary.
I really didn't. But maybe it's just because, like, compared to other things I've seen, this is a very tame film.
Well, I hadn't seen it in, like, literally since it came out. Like, I remember, I think we watched it, like, right when it came out. And...
It was really popular, like, because you would have been...
like 12 or 13.
You would have been, like, a year... Because you're a year younger than me, right?
Yeah, it definitely scared me back then. But, like, going back on it now, I don't... Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely do consider it horror. That's why, you know, I think we are reviewing it for our horror podcast. I think it fits the genre, certainly. But it's not the scariest horror movie.
Yeah.
But it is a really thought-provoking one and a really good one. I really like Black Swan.
Yeah.
I think that it holds up, honestly. And it, and it's, like, really funny. Like,
no, yeah, I really liked it. Like, I understand why this movie got all the, like, praise and, like, nominations it did and the recognition it did. I just don't consider it a horror movie, like, in the context of what I consider... I don't know.
It's weird. It's a weird one in between, like, horror and thriller. But I think horror is
it's just a movie.
It's just a movie. Britney Spears, when she's like, it's a movie.
It's pretend. You're an adult.
You should know that.
No, it's just a movie.
Such a good
It's
one.
pretend. You're an adult. You should know that.
Crossroads, we should review that. That is a horror movie.
Yeah, the pacing and the like overall story is definitely horrifying.
God.
How bad it is.
It's
But I do love. Oh my god, when she has.
I love rock and roll.
Baby. That part is amazing.
Okay, Black Swan.
Right.
I mean, no, I think this movie holds up. I think it's more camp than if anything.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it.
It's just kind of like, it's
so
very
melodramatic.
chaotic to be chaotic.
Yeah, for no reason.
And then it's always kind of like a gotcha.
Yeah, we'll get into
it. Was all a dream.
Yeah. This is very like one of those movies where you're like, how much of this is reality? Like, how? At what point do I like still care about the rules of this world when there is seemingly no rules?
Exactly. This movie does whatever the fuck it wants, whenever the fuck it wants. Because it's like, yeah, we just don't want you to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those movies that, because she's going insane throughout it, they kind of want to make you go insane.
Right, well, let's talk about, like, the themes, right? So it's like, there's, like, kind of, like, a one central overarching theme. It's pretty obvious. It's not, like, it's not that it holds your hand when it comes to, like, its thematic elements, but it's partly about the duality of human nature. Like, the white and the black represent, like, good and evil, how that is in all of us.
Yeah.
It's about definitely maturing and becoming an adult.
Womanhood.
Yeah, womanhood.
Sexuality.
But yeah, I think the main thing is the cost of perfection.
Yeah.
What people do to get it, especially artists, people who are in the arts and are very passionate. It's their life. And ultimately, this movie the bottom line's pretty cut and dry. The lesson is, like, you'll go crazy trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
And it might even kill you. Like, trying to achieve perfection is not a realistic expectation to place upon yourself.
Yeah.
Because we're all human, right?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Yeah, and as an artist, you have to learn to handle criticism and not let it get to you. Like, because when you take everything that people tell you so seriously, you'll go crazy. Yeah. And that's kind of what this movie's saying, I think. Yes. But yeah, at this point, we are going to be getting into the specific, like, plot details, and we're going to be spoiling the whole movie as we do. So if you haven't seen Black Swan, go watch Black Swan. Yes. I think it's on Netflix right now. And come back and review the story and get into all of the melodrama with us. So we start on a dream sequence of Nina, our main character, played by Natalie Portman. She's dancing the part of the White Swan. And we watch the moment in the ballet, Swan Lake, where the main character, Odette, is the main swan queen princess in Swan Lake. But she starts out as a human, and then I think his name is Rothbart. I watched a little bit of Swan Lake in preparation for this podcast. And Rothbart turns Odette
into a swan.
But she can turn into a human sometimes. Yeah. On, like, the full moon or something. I don't know. But in order to break the curse, she needs to find love, and then ultimately the Black Swan comes out and manipulates the prince and seduces him, and he chooses the Black Swan. And so Odette ends up, like, heartbroken, and she, like, jumps to her death off a cliff. And then she, like, becomes a spirit, and her spirit finds eternal happiness in the afterlife.
Amazing.
And yeah, so we watch the moment where Odette becomes the White Swan. The main, like, dancer guy transforms into this, like, blue kind of, like, bird demon guy that's Rothbart.
Yeah.
And she sprouts her wings and she's dancing on point. And I was very curious and did some research on if Natalie Portman actually danced.
No,
you're shaking your head because right?
No, baby.
She didn't.
This was a big controversy with the film.
I was like, oh my god, this was so, like, crazy, like, getting into this, like,
because it was actual, like, dancers, and they, like, basically, like, not Photoshop, but, like, Photoshopped her face on top of them.
Her name is,
like, really early, like,
it was the one
CGI,
dancer in particular.
Like, I mean, not early, but, like,
I think her name is Sarah Lane.
Okay, yes. Okay, do you want me to read this whole thing?
Sure.
Okay. So, after the 83rd Academy Awards, where Portman won Best Actress for her performance in the film as a ballerina, controversy arose over how much credit for the dancing in the film was being given to her and how much to her dance double, American Ballet theater soloist Sarah Lane.
Sarah Lane, yes. So Sarah Lane did all this footwork, and she did all of the actual ballet part of it.
Yeah.
And they really, which, like, I mean, it's fine, but, like, they were trying to claim that, like, Natalie Portman, like, oh, she learned how to be a ballerina in, like, a year and a half or something. And, like, to people who, like, come from the dance world and know how difficult it is to do ballet, period, and to, like, go on point and all this shit, and how many years it takes of dedication.
Yeah.
It's like, no, bitch, like, that dancer deserves credit.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that's, like, interesting. I don't know. Not to go on, like, a whole tangent about that.
Also, I mean, yeah, she should have been given the credit for the dancing, but, like, the acting is still...
Oh, I still think Natalie Portman absolutely deserved to win that Oscar because her performance is amazing.
Oh, I think everyone in this film is so good.
Yeah.
I think it's a great cast.
This was so... I do think that, like, she obviously shouldn't have been given all the credit for the dancing, and they shouldn't have, like, campaigned so hard with that as her, like... Oh, the reason why she should have won is because she became a professional ballerina in like a year and a half. They really pushed that. They should have just pushed, this was a fucking amazing performance. Look, either way, a horror movie won an Oscar, and I think that that's really cool because the Oscars famously always shit on horror movies and never include them or represent them.
Top horror movie to win an Oscar?
I don't know. Okay.
We did the dance sequence at the beginning.
And
the dream.
And I wrote that Nina is giving Maddie facials, like Maddie from Dance Moms. It's very, like, lyrical, like, oh, like, sad Maddie face.
Oh, like, I could just think of so much Dance Moms during that.
That's true, yeah. There's gonna be a lot of Dance Moms in references in my notes.
Yeah.
Because it comes with the territory.
Oh my god, it's so good.
And Nina, she's our main character. She's a dancer in the, like, New York ballet company or something. Like, do we know, like, which one's
the New York Ballet? I think it's the New York Ballet. New York City Ballet.
Okay. She kind of rolls out of bed and she cracks her neck and then she cracks her toes. Yeah. And, because, she's like this... She's in this, like, dance company, and it's established that she has been there for a while, and this is her year. Like, she thinks that she's going to finally get, like, a big role.
In the time. It is her year.
Yeah. We watch her morning routine as she stretches, while her mother lurks in the background, like, making breakfast or whatever. Yeah. But her mother is an interesting character. Nina is kind of talking to her and she says, sorry, her voice, this whole movie, she's like talking with like this voice.
Natalie?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It's very like, I don't know, like it reminded me of like a little girl. I think it's like supposed to be like very like, I don't know, the infantilism of it all.
It's to push her innocence.
Yeah. And she says, I dreamed that I danced the Swan last night. Oh, it was the prologue when Rothbard casts his spell. This is my year, Mommy. I'm gonna be the Swan. And we see the mom. The mom has very intense eyes. She is like just intense. And her breakfast that her mom has prepared for her is like half a baby grapefruit, which emphasizes another theme in this movie is just like how ballet dancers are encouraged to always be incredibly thin, always like basically like abuse their bodies for like their art.
Yes.
She tells the mom, he's going to feature me this year. And we get like the hint at her dance teacher and what maybe he could be like, which we'll get there. But her mom, while they're getting ready, notices this like scratch on Nina's back.
Yes. She has like this
weird like...
And we learn it's like an ongoing... Well, yeah.
Yeah.
She said she just gets injured, right? The first time.
She's like, it's nothing.
It's nothing, Mom.
Yeah.
It's nothing, so...
I'm Nina.
I gotta go to ballet now.
Yeah. And the mom, I just wrote like, very intense energy. And that's all we kind of get so far. Nina takes the subway and she's looking at her reflection in the window of the subway. And this is the first of many, or one of the first of many instances of reflections in this movie. That's a huge motif.
Yes.
Constantly throughout. Almost every shot and every scene has some sort of reflective surface where Nina can see a reflection of herself.
Yes.
And then she like is looking in the window of a train car next to hers. And she sees a girl in that train car who looks kind of like Nina from behind. Like, she has the exact same hair. Mm-hmm. And, also, Nina in this scene is wearing a white feathery scarf.
Yes.
That literally looks like
the White Swan.
Yeah.
Yes, I noticed that
the
right
costume
away.
design in this movie is maybe a little too obvious sometimes. I'm like, okay, we get it. Like, she's the White Swan. She's gonna be the Black Swan. Yeah. Yeah, and she watches this girl. She kind of studies this girl as the girl leaves the station. And we never see this girl's face. So we don't know who this girl is ultimately, but it's this. Nina has this fascination with other women who, I don't know, she feels threatened by or something. Yeah. We'll kind of get into that. But she walks to the theater where we see on the marquee, there's a poster of Winona Ryder, who's in this movie as a character named Beth.
Elizabeth. Beth McIntyre.
Who is a current dancer, like current maid, lead, prima ballerina dancer at the dance company. But she's, as we learn, while Nina is with the other girls getting ready, the other girls are gossiping. And they say, well, Beth's of a certain age, this and that. Like, basically, this audition is to replace Beth as, like, the lead of the company. And the other girls are talking shit while doing their makeup.
Yes.
And there's one girl in particular named
Veronica.
Who, iconic.
She does not like Nina, and she does not give a fuck about Nina. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And she's talking about Beth, and she goes, can't she take a hint? And Nina starts defending Beth, and she says, it's sad. Beth is such a beautiful dancer. And Veronica says, so's my grandma. And Nina says, well, Fontaine danced into her 50s. And Veronica goes, yeah, we know. And I'm like, these bitches.
They don't give a shit.
And then we're introduced to Lily, a.k.a. Mila Kunis, who is a dancer who is running late.
She just flew in from San Francisco.
And she's
I just got off the bus.
Yeah, she's literally like, sorry guys, just got here this morning. $2, 3 bags, 1 me. Very that.
Hey, do you know a prostitute like me
I can get a job in this town. But yeah, she drops the F-bomb right away. We kind of get this vibe that Lily, who, is running late.
Because she's a California girl. She's a West Coast girl. She vibes. She's like, I'm just vibing.
She's like,
you East Coasters are uptight. We West Coasters, we vibe.
Yeah, man. Like, chill
I do
out.
pirouettes while I'm surfing, man.
Yeah, she's like, I don't even need a warm-up, bitches.
Yeah, they're like, okay, time for warm-up. She's like, I'm good.
I'm good.
She's like, I'm ready.
And she has the exact same hair as Nina. She has brown hair with blonde highlights.
Yes. But she looks, and it's like, first of all, it just makes me laugh that it's Mila Kunis, because you're just like,
it's Meg.
Yes, I'm like, this serious ass movie. And Mila Kunis
Meg
is
in it.
Meg, Jackie from that 70s show.
Literally, I can't take her seriously at all. And then we get this montage of the kind of sped up process of how dancers take brand new ballet shoes, like the point shoes.
Point shoes, because, okay, so I don't know if you know this,
them.
but point shoes only last about 2 weeks worth of performances.
Right.
Because they're made of silk.
If that,
and like a little, and like a piece of cardboard. Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
And like,
I just watched the video.
And they just get so beat up, and so you just constantly are having... And the crazy thing is, they're expensive as fuck.
Yeah. And I just watched a video of Misty Copeland talking about how she has to, and apparently many African American or like brown and black dancers have to literally
use
paint
makeup
or paint their shoes because they only make, I think it's called like European pink.
Yeah. And so, well, I know there are companies now that, I'm pretty sure they're black-owned companies that have been making like multicolored like point shoes.
That's good because I was like, that's horrible. Like if Misty Copeland, who's one of the most like successful dancers working right now of all time,
Yeah,
can't,
some people would just use like makeup foundation and just like do them every night and then just powder them.
And you have to distress the bottoms of them, which this reminded me of like my theater kid days of like wearing character shoes and stuff.
You have to break them in.
Yeah, you have to break them in. You got to scratch them up with your keys so that you don't slip. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that, like, when you're performing, if you're going to dance on the stage, you can't just go out with a brand new pair of, like, dance shoes.
Yeah. Did you ever watch, what was it? Ice Princess?
Yes.
And that one mom's like, let me get you some new skates. And then the one girl's like, did you dance on new skates? You can't do that.
Yes, and it messed her feet up. I remember that. Yeah, it gave her like all crazy blisters.
Yeah, they're like, girl, you gotta like, you have to break them in. You have to give them the grip so that you're able to do all the moves that you're gonna be doing.
Yeah, you need to have that grip.
Because silk, even on wood, will just slip.
Yeah. So we kind of get that. And then one of the dance teachers at the studio is warming the dancers up at the bar. The ballet bar.
Yep.
Not,
Woo! Shots.
Shots.
Okay, girl.
We're not taking shots or anything.
Take a shot.
But at the ballet bar, and she tells Nina, she says, oh, beautiful as always, Nina. But remember to relax. And I think that perfectly sums up, like, great foreshadowing for what ultimately is going to be the main theme of our movie. Because Nina always needs to relax.
Yeah.
She's constantly overthinking things.
Yes.
And then we meet the director. And I wrote, he is if Abby Lee Miller was a hot, young, sexy Frenchman. Thomas. Yeah.
And it's played by Vincent Cassel.
Vincent Castle, who...
Who... That's what I said.
And it could be Cassel, I don't know. But all I know is that in every movie I've seen him in, he has a nude scene, and he always has his dong hanging out.
Oh.
I swear.
How long?
It's look it up. It's good. Okay. It's a good one. But yeah, that's what I know him from. I was like, oh, that's the penis guy.
The penis man!
The like French guy who always has his dick out.
I recognize that penis anywhere.
You don't recognize that wiener anywhere.
There's no wiener in this movie.
Unfortunately, there are some titties at some point, I think.
Titties?
Or maybe not. I don't know.
No, there's no titties. We never got any titties.
Damn. That's
Rated
rare
R,
for
y'all.
it's rare for
what?
a horror
For
movie.
what?
I know. And he goes around and he taps people on the shoulder while giving us an overview of the Swan Lake plot.
And Nina doesn't get tapped.
Yeah, Nina doesn't get tapped.
Which is
And it's like, what's gonna happen? And then he says he's looking for someone who can play both parts. The White Swan and the Black Swan. And the White Swan is sweet and virginal, innocent. And the Black Swan is a seductress. And he needs someone who can embody both. He tells the dancers, if I tapped you, that actually means you're not in consideration for the role, basically. You can go to your regularly scheduled dance class.
You can leave. Get out.
Get the fuck out, ugly ass bitches.
Now!
That would be Abby Lee. That actually is, I'm pretty sure, what Abby said at one point to those little girls. But this dance teacher, he's like, but if I did not... Wait, I can't do this. I cannot do a French accent. I'm not even going to attempt that.
If I did not tap you.
If I did not tap you on the shoulder.
Then you can leave and go to your regular scheduled classes.
Saison Marguerite.
It is not too.
I came to get my, how do you say, book? That's exactly how you say ménage à trois, Saison Marguerite.
It's a fucking
French word.
I just realized I came over here to get my chemistry book, and then I never got it, so I came back to get it. How do you say now?
Now! That's exactly how you say now, say the Marguerite.
So we learned that Nina is up for consideration for the role of
She's ready.
the Swan.
She knew it. This is her year. Come on, Nina.
And she's going to get an audition later that afternoon. While going over her dance in the hallway, she hears a banging sound. And she discovers Winona. smashing her mirror of her dressing room, tearing stuff apart.
She's angry.
And she storms out of her dressing room in a rage. And she turns around and she goes, what?
It's nothing.
Winona Ryder, and we'll get into it, but every time she is on screen in this movie, I am like on the edge of my seat.
She's
like,
so unhinged.
She is so funny.
You think Nina's unhinged in this movie? Bitch. Winona Ryder, she didn't even have to try.
Oh my god. And I love that it's Winona. I've always loved Winona Ryder.
She's so good.
And Nina kind of like, yeah, she's like, what? And Nina is like,
nothing.
Winona's like, good. Better fucking not be.
Better not be. And then Nina gets a little snoopy.
Yeah, she goes
and
into...
You know what?
The
I can't blame her. I would have done the same thing. I'm like, bitch, I need to see what the fuck up. I was like, she's coming back.
Right.
Okay, let
me look at her dressing room.
And she starts snagging some shit.
Yeah, what does she take? Like
lipstick, a letter opener.
And maybe like a tampon or something. And she goes to
the earrings. The earrings.
And the earrings.
She steals a pair of earrings.
Yes. And during her audition, she slays the part of the White Swan. But during the Black Swan, she gives the Kendall K facial expressions, not the good Maddie facial expressions.
She gives the ones where it's like, girl, get some face.
She looks like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
And she, we get this cool shot though of the camera spinning around and around, and every like spin, it pauses on the director because it's like from her POV as she's turning and she's like spotting her turns, which I think is really cool. And I watched a little behind the scenes where they kind of had the camera on a swivel on a tripod, and they're literally physically like flicking the camera around this tripod and like swiveling it around to achieve that effect, which is pretty cool. This movie has a lot of cool camera work like that. And he's yelling at her. He's like, attack it! Attack it! Seduce us, Nina! Seduce us! And she just does not know how to serve cunt.
She can't. She's not sexy. She doesn't know how to be sexy.
She needs to go to the University of Survington to get her PhD in motherhood and
cuntology.
Cuntology. And Mila Kunis, again late.
She's like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, she comes and kind of crashes through the door, and it distracts Nina, and it makes Nina fall out of her turn. Mila, I just wrote, always has her headphones in. She's always...
That's how you know she's like cool.
Yeah, you know how we talked about in our Orphan episode how Vera Farmiga was acting with her cardigan?
Yeah. She's like, they were like, okay, your character has headphones? She's like, say no more. Say no more.
A prop?
Say no more. You're
give
prop
me a
queen.
Mila says, give me a prop any day. I'm a prop queen. Let me work these headphones, mama.
What'd you say?
Yes.
Oh, I'm up to dance. Don't worry. Oh, what was I listening to?
Hold on, let me take my earpod out. Hold on, let me move my bang piece and take my earpod out really quick. What? And Nina, we see that she goes and she pukes in the toilet because she feels like she bombed this audition. And it's the first of many pukings in this movie. Yes. And on her way home that night, she's in an alley, and her mom calls her, and she has a flip phone. And she like, you know, in the good old days when you snapped your little flip phone shut, like, yeah.
It was like a whip crack.
Ooh, it was. Oh, those were the good old days. I know.
Because I know you have, there are flip phones that are back, but I'm like, I don't like those.
No, I don't like
those
ones.
Me.
I want the Razor, bitch.
Honestly.
That was the best era. T9, bring back T9 texting, bring back flip phones. Anyway, she flips her phone shut, and down on the other side of the alleyway, which is empty except for this one woman who's like silhouetted, and she flips her phone shut just in the exact same way that Nina did. And it's kind of like a, who the fuck is that? And she starts walking towards, and it kind of looks like Nina. And then it gets up close, and it's a straight up like doppelganger of Nina walking past Nina.
Yeah.
And Nina's like, what the fuck? And the doppelganger walks past her out of frame, and then the camera turns, and we see that it was just some random bitch.
Yeah.
And Nina was just imagining it. It was all in her head.
Wow.
But it's the first instance of, oh, that was just a hallucination.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just a little out of it.
Yeah, she kind of like does that movie thing where she like blinks, and she's like, oh, it's nothing.
Okay, I'm okay. Oh, thank God I blinked.
Literally. That's every fucking movie where there's like a vision. Okay, so that night, Nina, she's breaking down and crying to her mom about how poorly her audition went. And she has a weird dynamic with her mother, as if she is still a child.
Yeah.
And still needs coddling. But she is a grown-ass woman. I think she's like 28.
They have to be adults.
Yeah. And Nina decides that she is going to practice that evening in her point shoes. So she puts on her little, she's like, high heels on my tippies. Yeah, she's trying to see if she can execute the end of that turn that she fell out of earlier.
Yeah.
And we hear a crunch sound. Like she goes up, she's like, high heels on my and we see that she like cut or like the high heel or not the high heel. You know what? No, the high heel on her tippy. High heel on her tippy. It like cut into her tippy. But yeah, her feet are all fucked up, and she's like, "Fuck." Ow. And her mom bandages up her big toe. I think her big toe got like cut. Maybe she didn't break her point shoes in enough. I think is what happened. And I wrote during this scene where her mom's bandaging her up, I wrote her mom is giving very Jill vibes. Yeah. Like her mom is Jill from Dance Moms.
Oh, absolutely.
And Nina is Kendall K.
Sweetie, you have to do this for us. This is a big opportunity.
And yeah, she's very overbearing. She's
you know what,
very...
Nina? If you get White Swan, this $20, that's yours.
Is that not so accurate?
It literally is.
You did good on that trio. Don't forget, it's $20 is yours.
And yeah, and she's very overbearing. She's like perpetually fake nice all the time.
Yeah.
In like that weird toxic way. And Nina is just overworking herself, and she's very clearly addicted to striving for perfection.
Yeah.
It's driving her crazy. The next day, Nina decides that she is going to take fate into her own hands.
I want this role.
God
damn it!
I'm gonna fight for it. And she puts on Winona's red lipstick that she stole. And she goes and meets the director in his office. And he tells her straight up, he says, look, I don't see you as the black swan. I only see you as the white swan. And I've already decided that I'm going to go with Veronica. And she says, but I want to be perfect. And it's this voice. He's like, what? It's almost like, bitch, what? Speak up. Like, what did you say? And she's like, I want to be perfect.
Thank God for subtitles. Because I'm sorry. Maybe in like theaters, it's like, oh, okay.
Her voice.
Like, Jesus Christ, without subtitles, I would have been like,
it almost, like, it's kind of like...
baby, speak up.
What's the character Ariana Grande played in...
Cat.
Yeah. It's kind of like Cat a little bit. She's like, I want to be perfect. But is she not, though? Is she not? Was that not it? Because he goes, Nina, perfection is about letting go. You have to let go. You can't just think about technique all the time. And then, this is when I'm like, oh wait, no, he's gross.
Because he kisses her.
He like forcefully makes out with her. And it's
she
very gross.
Bites him.
Yeah, she bites him in self-defense. And he's like, oh fuck, you bit me.
And she's like, yeah, pervert.
Yeah, she literally was like, fuck off.
She's like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And she storms out. She's upset.
And he's kind of like turned on.
He's kind of like, oh wait.
He's like, I can't believe you bit me. Oh.
Turn on.
And she sees Veronica and she says, congratulations.
And Veronica's like, oh, her day is made.
Yeah, Veronica's like,
ready.
oh.
She's like, they're like, the cast list is up.
And she's like,
guys,
oh, fuck me, wow.
And she's like, wow, I'm out of here. And then Nina's like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I don't need to see it.
I'm
going home. I'm taking the day off.
And then we hear,
you bitch.
Veronica comes up and she goes, why the fuck would you say that, bitch?
She's like, what?
What? Fuck you.
Oh.
It's really good. It's a good fuck you. And
that's right.
Like kind of runs away. And Nina's like, so wait.
What did I get?
what did I get? And she goes up to the cast list. Everyone starts going, good job, Nina. Congratulations, Nina. And she sees Swan Queen Nina.
Miss Nina.
She got the
white
bitch.
swan.
She's going to be
Swan
playing
queen.
the Swan, bitch. And she calls her mom and she's like, I got the Swan, Mom. I did it. He picked me. And she's in the bathroom and she goes out of the stall and we get this scene that has become a very viral meme of her.
Slut!
Yeah, it's spelled, someone took lipstick while she was in the stall and wrote slut really big on the mirror. And Nina starts, oh my God, crying and like takes a wipe and starts like trying to wipe the slut away. But something about this scene is so melodramatic and so funny.
Because it's also like, girl, what?
Girl.
Why would you?
It's so funny. Just the word slut.
And then she's like smearing it off.
It's a great reaction gif. I love using that
fun
one.
of that. I sent you it. There's one in
Scary Movie
5 where it's like
she's writing
she's
cunt.
writing words.
Yeah.
And she like sees her and she's like, Heather!
And it's just like, it's Molly Shannon.
She like stops and is like,
But Nina still goes home. She's celebrating and she's looking for her mom. And in her mom's room, we see her mom has been painting all these paintings of Nina. And
somewhere she's sleeping, right?
Yeah, somewhere she's sleeping. A lot of close-up headshots.
Yeah.
A lot of portraits of Nina. And Nina is looking in this room and we see one of the paintings eyes move like towards the camera and it kind of gives a more sinister facial expression. And it's kind of like, and the first time you're watching,
What was that?
Yeah, I was like, oh, what was that?
That's what she said. And you know what? What was that? Okay, James.
And like the first time you watch it, like maybe you wouldn't notice, but then like it's because it's just so subtle.
Yeah.
But like maybe the second or third time you're gonna be like, whoa.
Yeah.
The first time you hear the song, you're
not gonna get it.
Not gonna get
You're not
it.
gonna get it. You're not gonna get it the first time, but the second or third time you're like, whoa.
What is this?
It's like nothing I've ever heard before.
The lyrics are video ends.
You're not going to get the song the first time you hear it. After the second and third time, you're going to be like, whoa, what is this? It sounds nothing like anything that's out right now. You know, the lyrics are very...
And so, yeah, the eyes move and she's like, what the fuck? But then the mom appears and she has a Swan Lake themed cake to celebrate.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's a cute cake.
It's such a pretty cake.
Got a little ballerina on it. And
she cuts her piece. And
Nina's like, oh, it's too big. That's such a big slice. Because,
like,
you know,
I'm not really hungry.
And the director was like, you need to lose weight. Earlier, I think, too.
Yeah. And
so
then,
she has that, like, in the back of her head.
And then literally just, like, as soon as she's like, no, like, I'm not really that hungry. Her mom
switches up and she's
like, fine,
it's garbage then. And she goes to throw it in the fucking trash.
She's like, no.
She's like, Mom, it's okay.
I'll eat it.
And then the mom goes, here. And like puts her finger in the icing and she's like, lick it off my finger. Like, ew, what the fuck? Their relationship is so
like,
weird.
Ew,
yeah.
She's not a 1-year-old.
Yeah, like she literally treats her grown ass daughter like she's still 5. And at rehearsal, the director tells her that she needs to channel the Black Swan more and that he wants to see some more of that bite that he experienced the other day or whatever, or before.
Show me the teeth.
And Mila Kunis is dancing with her hair down.
She's different.
Yeah.
She's edgy.
Right, because she's like the edgy girl. And while she's watching her, the director notices that like Nina's studying Mila Kunis. And he's like, comes over and he's like, look at how she dances. Not perfect, but beautiful. Effortless. She's not afraid of letting go. And so then they have a gala where the director announces that Beth is retiring. And Winona is in the crowd, and she looks pissed.
Oh, she is mad.
Yeah, mad
she's like annoyed at first, and then he keeps going.
Yeah, and he calls her, he says, my little princess. Which is like, apparently, you can tell it was a pet name that he always had for her, and that really rubs her the wrong way.
Pissed her off, because she's like, I'm out.
She storms out in the middle of his speech. But he keeps going, and he's like, anyway.
We have our new
Swan. It's Nina.
Oh my god. Woo!
Yeah.
Nina, yay!
Mila Kunis is just winning the I don't give a fuck war because she's flirting and laughing with some random guy. And Nina kind of gives her this stink eye.
She's mad. Why aren't you happy for me?
Yeah.
It's like, girl, you
she's
did
like,
not
this
even
is my
say 2 words
moment.
You've yet to even talk to this girl.
And I bet Mila Kunis, I can't remember, but I bet she had headphones in during that scene too, even though it was like a formal.
She was flirting, but she was not listening to that. She was like, ah, ha, 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 ha.
She just whenever we talk about Mila Kunis in this movie, just picture that she has headphones.
I'm listening to Vampire Weekends. Yeah, in California, we like music like that.
Yeah.
It's Vampire Weekends. Mm-hmm. You don't know Vampire Weekends?
The Killers.
The Killer.
It's always the Killers, bitch. Okay, and then Nina goes to the bathroom and she's washing her hands, and she notices that like the skin on her cuticle is like peeling or drying off or flaking off, and she goes and she starts peeling off a whole layer of skin from her finger, which I think is some really gross like body horror. I'm like, ugh!
Yeah. And then she like is washing her hand and then like
she does her like, oh, I blinked and...
I need to blink real quick. I haven't blinked in a minute.
Oh, I blinked? Oh, it was just a
hallucination.
I always hallucinate when I don't blink long enough. And someone's knocking on the door, and finally, like, Nina kind of shakes herself out of the vision, and she lets the person in. It is Mila Kunis.
It's Mila Kunis.
Probably with some headphones hanging out her ear.
She took them out and she's like, oh my god, it's you.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
I'm the girl from
Black Swan? Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
From California.
From California.
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
The Killers. The Killer.
Oh, the Killers. and she starts taking her panties off. Right in front of
Bruno, I was like, what is happening?
Like, she had to pee, so she, like, hitched up under her skirt and took her panties off, but it's like, girl, go in the stall. Like, why are you still talking to me?
And yeah, like, girl, let me
take care of your business.
There's a single toilet in here. Like, this is not...
Yeah.
We're not supposed to all be out here, girl.
And then she, like, sits up on the sink and she's like, hey, hang out with me in here. She's like, time with me. And it's very LGBTQA plus vibes.
Yeah, Nina's then like, I gotta go.
Yeah, she's like, I can't fuck you. Bye. And, like, leaves.
And she's like,
I'm confused.
Away. She's like...
And Nina gets invited by the director to come back to his place. And while she's waiting for him, she's, like, lingering on this beautiful yet, like, scary statue of, like, a swan person with no arms or no legs.
Yeah.
Like, the wings, like, the blank
It's a very
face.
creepy
Yeah, very
statue.
creepy statue. And then Winona jump scares her. And we get the best scene in the movie.
The best.
And if you know, you know. Because it really is iconic.
I was so excited. Because I will say, I knew the scene was coming up because as soon as I saw her at the party wearing the outfit,
you're like, oh, this is best.
I was like, yes.
This is best.
I was like, yes.
Here, let me do a dramatic interpretation of it. Okay, ready? Winona says, what did you do to get this role? He always said you were such a frigid little girl. What did you do to make him change his mind? And then we get like a pause. And she kind of gives this smirk. Yeah.
She gives a little
Stevie's doing it
smirk.
perfectly right now, but it's like this smirk.
Because she like kind of like her eyes get like wider, but she's also like smizing the fuck.
Yeah.
Like she's trying like so hard not to like give an angry face.
It's like a little inhale, and then she says,
Did you suck his cock?
That's the reason we did this whole fucking
literally, because I saw that meme and I was like, we're doing Black Swan. We're doing Black Swan because we got to talk about this scene with Winona Ryder.
Did you suck his cock?
Let's do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Did you suck his cock?
Did you suck his cock?
Amazing. It's amazing. It feels good to say. You know? Like, especially the cadence in which she says it. It's perfect.
But then Nina does have a good clap back.
She does.
Some of us don't have to.
Ooh.
To get that.
Yeah, she says, none of us have to. Winona pulls a Kelly from Dance Moms and she goes, oh, you are a whore.
Oh, you are a whore.
Oh, you are a whore.
Oh, don't even go there, you whore. Oh, you are a whore.
You are a whore. Oh, do not go there.
Oh,
you are a whore.
And the director shows up and he's like, literally like, go home, you're drunk, basically. Like, you're embarrassing yourself.
And you know what? And whether or not she has been drinking or not is not his business.
Yeah, shut up. I'm Winona. And then she's like, I want to talk to you later. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. And Winona...
she stumbles out.
Yeah, Winona's really good at acting drunk. I almost wonder if... Never mind. But they go back to his... love you, Winona. Shout out to Winona, one of my favorites. They go back to his place, and he asks her all these pervy questions. It kind of reminded me of Austin Powers, because he was like, let's talk about shagging, baby. And he gives her a homework assignment. He says, go home and goon. Goon yourself, Nina. And he says, are you still a virgin? And she's like, no. But she's lying. She's a liar. And that night, the mom notices Nina's scratch marks on her back. And we learn actually... your nails. Yeah, we learn actually that Nina scratches herself habitually.
Like when she's nervous.
She's nervous. And we just
stressed. Stressed out.
But we've never seen that because in Nina's mind, she doesn't realize she's doing it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And the mom cuts Nina's nails herself. And she even, like, it's just really intense. And
she clips her finger.
Yeah, she cuts her. And it's just a very weird dynamic between those two. Like, yeah, Nina is a grown-ass woman. Like,
yeah, like, let her do her thing.
Yeah. The next morning, Nina decides that she's ready to goon. She starts gooning. Jump scare, the mom is asleep in the chair in front of the bed.
And she literally flings back under those covers.
She's like, oh, shit.
She's like, oh, never mind.
I'll catch that nut later, I guess. And at rehearsal...
Was she actually there?
It could have been in her mind this whole movie. At rehearsal, we learned that Beth, Winona, is in the hospital. Apparently, she got super drunk.
And everyone's like crying about it, but I'm like, y'all didn't act this upset a few days ago. Like,
yeah.
They're all like, y'all some fake bitches.
Did you hear about Beth? Oh. Crying, and like, and we see Veronica crying, like, fuck, Veronica, shut the fuck up.
Veronica, you don't give a shit.
But yeah, she, apparently that night, she was drunkenly walking home, and she walked into traffic, and she got hit by a car.
And Tomas thinks she tried to do it. Thinks it was attempted suicide.
Yeah, he says, I think she did it on purpose, because that would be very Winona behavior.
That would be... Beth would do that.
Yeah, Beth would do
for
something
attention.
like that. And Nina goes to visit Winona, and we see that Winona's legs got all messed up. And she...
Staples and like...
Yeah, she got like... She basically got like, almost like her legs amputated, kind of. I don't know, it's weird.
She can't dance.
You know what? She looks like that meme of the anime girl with no arms or legs in the hospital. Does she not?
Yes. Oh my god, that literally is her.
Yeah.
That literally is her.
But it's Winona Ryder. It's so good. Then we see Nina sneak a wooden pole into her room so she can block the door, or what's the word I'm thinking of? Jam the door.
Jam the door.
Then we see Nina get physical therapy to pop her rib back into place. And apparently, I watched on the bonus features, this was Natalie Portman actually, like, throwing her rib out of place during, like, filming. So they were like, okay,
can we film it, dude?
Yeah, they're like, literally the director was like, we'll film it and just have her stay in character. So it's a real life, like, physical therapy session.
God.
And then at rehearsal later, they are running the Black Swan choreo. And the director is like, cut. And he asks the male dancer, he says, honestly, would you fuck that girl? And he's like, no, you wouldn't. No one would. No one would fuck you. And he dismisses everyone except Nina. And he has a private with her. And the dancing turns into him, like, aggressively making out with her. And he even is like, open your mouth. And he sticks his tongue down her throat. And she's kind of into it, though, honestly.
She's like, all right.
Yeah, she's here for it. And
she was a little horny that morning. She got blue balls.
Yeah.
She's like, I wanted to rub one out. And I couldn't even do it.
She's like, maybe now. And then he pulls away and he's like, that was me seducing you. It needs to be the other way around. And he leaves her to, like, cry and, like, sulk to herself. Mila comes in and she looks like Nina at first, and then she like steps out of the shadows.
She's like, hey, it's me, Mila Kunis.
Let me take my AirPods out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, hey.
No, I think she does actually, like, I swear she has headphones.
Oh my god, I didn't know anyone was here.
Every time we see her.
Doesn't she say that? I didn't think anyone was here.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my god, what are you doing here? Let me take off my...
Hold on, girl, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Sorry.
My earpods.
I'm listening to The Killers.
The Killers, sorry.
The Killers.
Killers.
You ever listen to The Killers?
The Killers, yeah.
You know The Killers. Okay, yeah, it's The Killers.
Are we human? Are we dancer?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
She comes in and she starts smoking a cigarette in the studio.
And she's like, Nina's like,
you can't smoke. Her voice.
You can't smoke in here. She's like, I won't tell. You won't.
It could be our little secret. And she keeps flirting with her. And Nina starts crying some more about the director. And Mila's like, oh, come on, Nina. He's a prick. And Nina's like, but he's brilliant. And he's like, oh, someone must be hot for teacher. Like, joking. But then Nina gets butthurt and is like,
what?
And she's like, don't joke about that. And she storms out. And Mila Kunis is like, oh, Nina, come on, I was just busting your balls. Okay, I'll just put my headphones back in, I guess, now.
I'm going to start listening to The Killers again.
Nina masturbates in the tub that night. And she goes underwater while she's gooning. And then the blood drops a pier in the water. And she looks up and she gets jump scared by another doppelganger staring down at her. And it was all in her mind. Of course. At rehearsal the next day, the director drops the bomb that Mila told him about Nina's breakdown. And then Nina goes and gets shitty with Mila and is like, you shouldn't have said anything. And this
she gets shitty with her because, like, Mila's, like, hanging out with the girls, doing her makeup, and she's like, can I talk to you? She's like, oh, hey, what's up, girl? Yeah, just give me one. She's like, I need to talk to you. And she's like, now. And, like, even Mila gets a little bit of that. She's like, bitch. Okay,
and the other girls are like, oh, damn, Nina, okay.
Damn, Nina's...
Yeah, I noticed this is the time in the movie where we start to notice Nina becoming more dark side.
Yes.
And later that night, she refuses to show her mom her scratches. It's almost like she's starting to develop agency a little bit. Mm-hmm. There's a knock at the door, and the mom like rejects whoever's at the door. And Nina was like, who was that? And she goes to see. It was Mila.
And she's like, oh, sorry, let me take off my earbuds.
Again,
sorry, I was
headphones.
just stopping by.
She says, I just really wanted to apologize for what I said earlier. That was rude. And I actually thought we should go out and get drinks and maybe get dinner. And the mom keeps interrupting them. She was like poking her head out the door.
No.
And Mila is literally like, Jesus, like your mom is
fucking
crazy.
Insane.
Damn. And Nina's kind of like, you know what? I'm going. And she goes and she gets her coat.
Her mom is like, where are you going?
Where are you going? She goes, I'm going out. And it's like, good for you, Nina. Finally. Like, she's starting to develop some balls.
And they go to some, like, burger joint. Some, like, just, like, restaurant. Like, a stereotypical movie restaurant.
Yeah.
It's like... Oh, it's like we're in New York, so it's like a Manhattan. Like there's cool
and there's
mood
like
lighting
that neon sign with like blue and red.
Yeah, and we have our plates are white and squares.
It's square plates. Yeah,
it's all geometric. And our waiter, his sleeves are rolled up, and he starts flirting with Mila.
Mm-hmm. And he says, "Let me know how juicy it is." And would you like some cheese? And she goes, no, I think you have plenty of cheese. Kind of gives it back to him.
And he's like, all right. Just like,
sounds good.
And like, she's just like, Nina is just like, oh, what?
Yeah.
She's just like in shock. She's like, just casually, she can talk to men.
Yeah, because Mila embodies everything that Nina
is not.
Wants to be. Yeah. She's the Black Swan.
Yeah.
She's our Black Swan of this. And they're talking about how weird it is that, or how weird Mila thinks it is that the director calls Beth my little princess. And she's like, I bet he calls every girl that.
Yeah.
And Nina's like, no, that's just for Beth. And Mila's like, girl, I bet he'll be calling you my little princess any day now. Foreshadowing. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. And she's like, you really need to relax. And she goes, here, I've got something. And she offers Nina
ecstasy.
I think it's Molly, because it makes her sweat.
Same thing.
Is it the same thing? I knew that. We're editing that out, bitch. That's so stupid of me. She offers her Molly. Stop. We're editing it out. I'm editing it out.
Also known as MDMA.
She gives it MDMA.
What the fuck is MDMA?
And I realized it was what Madge was calling herself
on the tour.
Finally, I just wrote, what the fuck is MDNA? And it happened to be Madge. It happened to be what Madge was calling herself on the tour.
Yeah, ecstasy and Molly are the same thing, baby.
I know.
Daddy.
Molly.
Okay.
And she gives... Stop. That is enough. I knew what it meant.
It's too good.
I knew what it was, okay?
It's too good. It's too good.
She takes the ecstasy / Molly. Clearly, I've never done it. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. She offers Nina Molly, and Nina declines. She also offers Nina a cute black lacy top.
So, the entire movie, this bitch has been wearing white and light colors.
And pink.
Yeah.
But she goes to the bathroom, and she puts the lacy black top on over her white top. Literally the black swan, like, overtaking her, basically. She is
Because then as soon as she puts that tank top on, she's like, give me that pill.
Yes, I want it bad. Ecstasy.
Ecstasy. Ecstasy. That's all I could think of during this dance break.
She's a party girl with a bad habit for drugs. She's a slut and she knows it.
It was very... My name is Jessica.
Yeah.
Some kids call me a slut.
She's a party girl with a bad habit for drugs. And then we see her, like, flirting with a dude.
And this scene is, like, just seizure-inducing. So much strobe lights going on. We see flashes of Nina's, like, doppelganger, like, in the strobe flashing. And then Nina kind of blacks out, and then we see she's in the bathroom making out with, like, random dudes.
Slut.
On the cab ride home, Mila starts trying to seduce Nina, and she, like, walks her fingers across the, like, seat of the car, and then, like, tries to feel up down there.
Down there. Well, they're in the cab.
Yeah. It's very LGBTQA+.
And
right
I like
now
it.
In this cab.
I like it.
And they go back to the apartment. And
the mom is pissed.
She's waiting there. And Nina is in full Black Swan mode. She basically, like, tells her mom to go fuck off. And Nina takes Mila Kunis and, like, they run into her room. And she jams the door with that pole that she had snuck in earlier. And the mom is, like, trying to get in. She's like, what is this? You're not my Nina anymore. And she goes, it's called privacy. I'm not 12 years old anymore. She's, like, finally standing up to her mom. And then her and Mila start...
She's kind of losing that little...
Yeah, her voice starts to get a little deeper. She starts making out with Mila. And Mila starts going down on her. Nina looks down, and for a moment, it looks like her doppelganger is going down on her. And then she blinks.
She's like, let me blink real quick.
She does her famous Nina blinking, and we see that it was still Mila going down on her. And then Mila makes her goon so hard. Like,
she yells.
It is an orgasm of the century, truly. And then
orgasm heard around the world.
And then Mila's back tat
Even deaf people went, huh?
Not even deaf people went, huh? Then Mila's back tat starts morphing into, like, wings that flap. As she, like, you know, gives her iconic, mind-blowing head.
Yeah, she goes down on her.
And then Mila does turn back into Nina's doppelganger, and then she smothers her with the pillow.
Yep.
And then Nina wakes up the next morning She realizes that she's late for ballet.
The door is not jammed.
Yeah, she did notice that. So that's like her first indication of like, what was really going on last night?
So Lily left.
And Nina bitches out her mom, and she's like, why
Her
didn't you
mom's
wake
just
me up,
sitting
Mom?
there, like, in the living room, just like...
The mom just stares. And then Nina goes, you know what? I'm moving out. And she slams the door. And it's like, ooh, fuck yes. Good for you, Nina.
She's done.
Mm-hmm. And at the theater, Mila is stepping in for Nina. And Nina...
is not having it.
No, she's not having it one bit. Because she's like...
That's my part.
Yeah.
That's my role.
She's gonna replace me. Oh my god. And they do like a take 5. And Mila comes up to Nina. And we learn that Mila never went home with Nina at all after the club.
Because she's like, why didn't you wake me up? And she's like,
what do you mean?
Are you talking about?
I didn't even stay over. Like, she goes,
But we,
you know. And she's like, did you have some sort of wet dream about me?
And she's like, oh my god. She's like kind of flattered.
She's like, wait, was I good at it?
She's like, oh my god, thank you. She's like not offended. Because she's in California, where she listens to the Killers.
Yeah, on her headphones. Yeah. And she's like, oh, cool. And Nina's like, oh, I gotta run away from this. Confusing thoughts. She's like, you can't catch me, gay thoughts. And she goes and pukes some more about it in the bathroom. Later, she goes to her bedroom and she knocks her ballet music box off the dresser.
She's mad.
She's over it. And she takes all of her stuffed animals and she throws them out. And this is her kind of like growing up, like metaphorically. Yeah. She's like, you know.
I'm a grown-up girl now.
Yeah, I'm not a little girl who needs to play with
big girl.
Yeah. I wear Pampers. She puts on her big girl panties.
Yes.
And she is starting to embrace the darkness, her dark-sidedness. And it is the day before opening night. And they are practicing the finale on stage. The director, after the like big rehearsal of the where Odette, Nina's character, goes and jumps off a cliff.
Yeah.
And we see Nina like a little hesitant, but she dives off of the like kind of structure they have on the stage.
Yeah.
And she lands on the mattress
Yep.
behind it. And the director finally acknowledges Nina's hard work. He gives her a thumbs up.
Yep.
And during a fitting after that, the costume designer is measuring Nina's like arms and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she says, hey, you lost weight. And Nina's like, oh, like, cool. Like, she's all excited. And then there's a mirror in front of her and a mirror behind her. So it creates that, like, illusion of, like, there being, like, you know, an infinite number of you.
Yeah, and one of them turns around.
There's a doppelganger.
Looks at her and goes...
And she scratches. Like, the doppelganger scratches her back.
Ooh.
Yeah, kind of showing the real, like, Nina that we never see, because in Nina's mind, she doesn't have an issue scratching. Yeah. But the doppelganger is scratching her own back. And it's right on that place where the scratch mark was from before. Then Mila shows up, and she needs to get fitted for the Swan Queen costumes for some reason. And Nina's like, oh, what are you doing here? And Mila's like, oh, he made me your alternate. And Nina is like, oh. Hell no.
And she
storms over to the director.
She's like, where's Tamar? Where's Tamar? I need Tamar.
Can't be her.
It can't be.
She's trying to replace me, Tamar. You have to listen to me. Please believe me. And he's like, girl, you are stressed the fuck out. Like, go home, get some rest. Yeah. She's not going to replace you. I just need an alternate. And I've been hyping her up.
He's like, everyone has an alternate.
Yeah. You're good. Like, chill the fuck out. But Nina doesn't take his advice. She continues to stay at the studio well into the night, and she just is practicing. She practices so much that the rehearsal pianist, this fucking piano gay guy, is so funny. He goes, I've got a life, you know, and storms out. And so he leaves Nina by herself to practice, and she's dancing, and she moves her arm, but the reflection doesn't move its arm. So it's another doppelganger. And then the lights go out, And Nina starts like backing up into like the long mirrors, like the tall mirrors in the studio.
Yeah.
And her reflection turns around to face her. And it's a really creepy, like...
Yeah.
I really think that doppelgangers in movies are always effectively very scary.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about them, like, I never get tired of it. Like, anytime, like, Jordan Peele did it great with Us.
Yeah.
There's a Twilight Zone episode where this girl keeps seeing a doppelganger in the mirror behind her, and it's probably one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes, but it's always cool for me, for sure. And she goes out into the proscenium, and she sees backstage Thomas and Mila fucking. And then Mila becomes another Nina doppelganger and
looks right at her.
And then Thomas transforms into the blue Rothbart bird demon guy.
Yes.
And she collects her bag of all of the things that she took from Winona. And she goes to the hospital, and
Miss Winona is in her wheelchair, passed the fuck out.
And there's a kind of a table stationed over by where Winona is, and Nina is laying the things out that she took from Beth and laying them on the table. And then Winona grabs her hand, and this jump scare got me, bitch.
It's a good one.
It was a good jump for me. I flew out of my fucking seat, bitch, during this one. And Winona goes, "What are you doing here? You took my things?" And Nina's like, "I know how you feel now. She's trying to replace me. What do I do? What do I do?" And there's that nail file thing.
It's the letter opener.
Sorry.
And she starts
that's sitting on the desk. And Winona goes, "Me? I'm nothing."
And she starts
nothing! And she starts stabbing her own self in the face.
With it.
Ah!
Or did she?
Yeah. Because Nina blinks again. It was a hallucination. And Nina looks down. She's in the elevator. And she's holding the envelope opener and has blood all over her hands. So we never really know what happened there, ultimately. Yeah. But Nina goes back to her apartment and she turns off the lights. And in the kitchen, we hear somebody go, "Sweet girl." And Nina turns the lights back on. And there is a doppelganger dressed up like Winona in the hospital gown, all bloody, staring at Nina, going to chase her. And Nina runs into the bathroom. She starts puking again. And then she hears all the paintings of Nina are screaming and moving, and they're all freaking out at her. And she starts tearing the paintings down. And her mom comes in the room and is like, "What the fuck?
Are you okay? What is wrong?"
And Nina runs to her room and she jams the door again. Then she looks in the mirror, and this is when her eyes get all red.
And she scratches her back and pulls out
a feather.
A fucking black feather.
Black feather. And then her mom's like, "Please, Nina, let me in." And Nina goes, "Get out!" And she has a really low voice in this scene.
Yeah.
And she slams the door on her mom's fingers.
Yes.
It smashes them in the door. And then Nina's legs.
This scene
is so dumb.
They snap and they turn into swan legs.
Something about it is so funny to me.
She's like, "Oh!"
Yeah. Her legs, they become swan legs, and then she falls and knocks herself out on the bedpost.
Yeah, and then she just...
then she wakes up, and her mom is there, telling her that her mom called the theater and told them that Nina was not feeling well, and she won't be able to make it to opening night. And Nina freaks out.
She's like, "Why would you tell them that?"
Yeah. She starts to leave, and the mom has removed her door handle so she can't leave the room. And she's like, "Where is it? Where's my..." And she starts tearing the room apart. And
her mom was sitting on it.
Yeah, she realizes her mom's sitting on it. And the mom goes, "What happened to my sweet little girl?" And she goes, "She's gone." And then she squeezes her mom's injured hand and like makes her mom like fall to the ground in pain. And she's able to grab the doorknob. She puts it back, and the mom is like, it's almost like the mom from Carrie. Like, they're all gonna laugh at you. Yeah. But we learn in this scene that Nina's mom used to be a dancer. She used to want to dance the Swan herself. And she kind of gave it all up to have Nina.
Yeah.
So there's like resentment there. And Nina basically is like, bitch, I'm the Swan Queen. You never ended up being anybody, like, kind of thing. And she storms out. And
you were
that's
nothing more than a little swan. That's what you
yeah. And I'm the Swan Queen. And it's basically Nina, like, she's casting away her childhood.
Yeah.
She's finally maturing and becoming independent from her mother, basically. And she storms out in a rage, and she barely makes it to the theater in time because Mila is in her costume,
and she's like,
preparing to step in for her. Yeah, get out of my costume. Yeah. And she goes into her dressing room and she starts putting on the White Swan makeup. And Tama is like, Nina, like, you can't dance because I already told Lily that she could do it. And Nina's like, well, did you announce it? And he's like, no, I haven't announced it yet. And Nina goes, well, you don't want another controversy after Beth now, do you? And is like being cunty.
Yeah.
Finally. And like, you'd think that he'd be offended, but he's acknowledging her serving cunty.
Yeah. He's like, okay.
And so he's like, oh, let's see what she got. The only thing that's standing in your way is you.
Yeah.
But I hope you keep on serving cunt.
Yeah.
I hope you keep on serving cunt.
And the show starts. Nina slays it so far. She, backstage, Nina is watching in the wings, and she sees Mila Kunis feeling up on her male dance partner. Like, kind of grabbing his dick a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I'm the Black Swan.
Yeah. And I learned when I was researching this movie that this guy is a choreographer that did all the moves for this movie. Mm-hmm. He's the one who plays the dancer as well.
Oh, okay.
And he actually ended up marrying Natalie Portman. Like, they met on this movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Amazing.
And also, Nina's backstage, and we see the dancer who's playing the, like, demon guy.
Yeah.
Gives her, like, a, sup, Nina?
Yeah.
He seems chill.
And she's like, oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, that's the one moment where she's like, oh, I'm cool.
Yeah.
That's the one moment in the film where she's like, I'm not crazy right now.
Literally, yeah. She's like,
oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah, hey, what's up, man?
It's like, damn, if she hung out with him the whole movie, she'd probably been vibing.
He seemed chill. I bet he smokes weed.
Hey, Nina, what's up?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, dude.
Then they go out, and they do the iconic na da 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 da, like the famous, like what you think of when you think of Swan Lake. Mm-hmm. They're doing that scene with the prince, and he's lifting her up, and she starts seeing doppelgangers
all
around her. Like, all the other dancers are turning into doppelgangers, and it throws her off, and she kind of loses focus, and it causes the prince to drop her. And he, like, whispers, he's like, what the fuck, Nina? Which I think is funny. Like,
yeah,
we've all, like, if you've been theater, like, you've had moments where
it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're, like, whispering to each other
also,
on stage.
If something bad doesn't happen opening night, it's not a good opening night.
Yeah, that's true. This was the kind of, like, you know,
something bad usually happens.
The mistake, night. Yeah. Nina gets off stage, she starts crying, and the director is pissed. And Nina starts throwing her partner under the bus.
As soon as, like, because the curtain comes down, and as the second it hits the ground, he comes on to, what the fuck happened? And she just like,
he dropped me.
It wasn't my fault.
It wasn't my fault.
And then
she's like a child throwing a tantrum. She goes backstage for intermission. She goes back to her dressing room, and waiting for her there is Mila.
She's getting her makeup done, and she's like,
she says,
I'm taking over now, bitch.
Yeah. Says, how about I dance the swan for you? And in that moment, the camera pans from her to her reflection, and in the reflection, it's a Nina doppelganger. Then Nina shoves her into the mirror, shattering the glass everywhere. And Nina's doppelganger starts strangling her. And Nina's neck starts to turn into the swan neck.
Yeah.
And then she takes a shard of the mirror and she stabs Mila. And she says, "No, it's my turn." And her voice is like super deep. It's like, whoa, like, where did that come from, bitch? And then we see, it was Mila all along. It wasn't a doppelganger. Yeah. Nina panics and she drags Mila's body into the bathroom and like hides her there.
Yep.
And she takes a moment, she like collects herself, and she lets the Black Swan persona take over.
And she's like, "Let me change my makeup."
And she puts on the Alyssa Edwards Black Swan eye makeup. And she says, "Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to serve cunt." And she has bright red eyes, a very slight black veil over her face, and her eyes give this very seductive performance. And she goes out and she delivers a flawless Black Swan dance. She eats on that stage. Yeah. She devours. Even her like dancer is like, "Damn, Nina, like, good job." Like, everyone's like, "Whoa, you did great, Nina." Yeah. And when she goes backstage, she's kind of like feeling her oats a little bit.
And then she goes into the
her skin, like her arms and her hands, start to develop like kind of feathery tendrils that roll down. Then she goes out and she delivers like 80 million perfect turns in a row, and her arms start to turn into swan arms.
Yes.
Wings.
It's a very cool shot.
Yeah, it's so cool. And she, like, the audience goes up for her. She gets a standing O. They start throwing flowers at her. She runs backstage and she plants a fat, wet kiss on Thomas.
He's like, "No, you have to go back up there. They love you. They want to adore you. Yeah. They love you." And then she goes back out. She's like, "Okay."
Yeah, and then she goes out and she's like, "I live for the applause. And yeah, everyone backstage is like, "She's really good." Like,
she's really good.
She's really good.
She's really good. And finally, they're getting ready for the White Swan finale, and Nina goes back to her dressing room, and Mila...
She goes and knocks on the door, and she opens it, and it's Mila. And she's
Mila
like,
Kunis.
"Bitch, what the fuck?"
And she's like, "Hey, it's me."
Oh my god, sorry about that. Let me take out my earbuds real quick.
Get one final, like, let me remove my earbuds.
You were sorry about the
good.
confusion.
Yeah.
Sorry about the confusion this morning. So glad you were able to do it. Like, you're perfect.
Yeah, like, I'm so proud of you. What the fuck? Yeah, she's shook. She's like,
if you're in here,
then
and I'm right here, then who's flying the plane?
Yeah, who's flying the plane? She closes the door and she goes into her bathroom.
No one's there.
And there is no body.
But the mirror
is
in the dressing room is still shattered.
It's shattered.
She's like, "What the heck?"
She looks down. It is revealed.
She's got a big ass cut in her side.
She stabbed herself. She pulls the mirror shard out of her own stomach. And yeah, it was all in her mind. She basically had to let herself go, like how the director was always telling her. Mm-hmm. And so she, in doing so, literally killed herself. Like, she literally is like going to die now to give this performance.
Yeah.
And yeah, in her efforts to be perfect, she might not make it. She weeps, but continues putting on the makeup and preparing to give the finale performance that is worth dying for, basically. Yeah. She gives a flawless...
She's like, "I set out to complete this. I started this show. I'm going to finish this show.
I will go down with this ship." Yeah, and the show must go on. She goes out. She gives a flawless finale White Swan dance. She makes eye contact with her mother at one point. And it's like, they're both in tears. And it's, again, that recognition of, like, she, like, the mom, like, has lost her little girl. Like, Nina has become a woman. She has fully morphosized into her own person. And she dances up, and she's still bleeding out. She goes up to the top of the, like, mountain structure thing on, like, the set.
Yeah.
And she leaps off in slow motion. It's
a really good shot, though. I did really like it.
And everyone, like, the crowd goes wild. Everyone is so impressed with Nina. They all give her, like, her flowers. And Thomas comes up, and he calls her my little princess. Like, he said it. He finally called her that. And said she did perfect. She was amazing. But then, Mila Kunis is the first one to notice. She notices the stab wound.
Yeah, that she's bleeding. Because it's bleeding through her white costume.
It's bleeding through her white costume and it's starting to saturate the whole costume in blood. And he's like, oh my God, Nina, what did you do? And
what
she
happened?
says,
I felt it.
Perfect.
It was perfect.
That's perfect. And then we see from her point of view the stage lights coming down. And then it fades to white. Black Swan, bitch.
Black Swan, bitch.
So, weekend for... Homegirl probably died for her art. Bitch.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like left on the, like, did she die? Like, did they get her? How deep was the wound? I mean, here's the thing. I was like, she danced for two more acts.
Literally,
like,
right? Yeah.
Damn.
And it only just started to bleed out at the end there.
So it's like...
I don't know. It could have all been in her head.
That's the thing. You're also like, did she actually even stab herself? Like,
yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's like, you don't even know if she even fucking made it to the performance.
Exactly.
Really. Like,
we don't know.
There's so much that could have happened.
But... yeah, ultimately, such a fun, like, chaotic movie, I think.
I think there's probably... it's one of those movies you could have, like, a million theories for.
Sure, yeah.
Like, which is a fun movie.
Yeah.
No, I love this movie. I think it's great. It's a fun watch. I think it's a good intro to horror.
And a lot of good memes.
And a lot of good memes.
And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. And... do we know what we're going to do next week on the pod? Have we discussed it?
I don't think so. Maybe Child's Play?
Child's Play. Let's do Child's Play.
I just watched that one, so that one is like fresher in my mind. So I'd like to do that one.
I love Child's Play. Okay.
It's a good one.
All right, guys. So that has been all for this episode. Here, let me pull up my little script.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us today on Let's Scream. We'll be at a fun time with us at the ballet.
Please remember to follow the pod, like the pod, and leave a glowing review of the pod, of course.
And you can send us movie requests for future episodes. You can follow me at Parker_Will_C. And you can follow me on Spotify and all the streamings. Parker Willsey.
And you can follow me at Stevie Nash95 on Instagram.
Until next time, this has been
Let's Scream.
Bye.